What if you woke up tomorrow in a world ruled by beings 3 times your size? Imagine stepping outside your door only to find footprints the size of swimming pools carved into the earth. Picture looking up at towering figures whose shadows eclipse the sun, whose voices shake the ground like thunder, and whose mere presence fills you with primordial terror. This isn't science fiction. This is history. According to ancient texts from across the world, there was once an age when giants walked the earth. The Nephilim of Hebrew scripture, the Titans of Greek mythology, the Fomorians of Celtic lore. But these weren't gentle giants from fairy tales. They were predators, and you would have been prey. So why wouldn't you survive the age of giants? We'll find out together in this new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome. Imagine you wake up in the age of giants. Your eyes open, but something feels wrong. The ground beneath you trembles rhythmically like a massive heartbeat. You sit up confused, only to realize these aren't heartbeats. They're footsteps. You stumble to what you think is your window, but as you look outside, terror grips you. The landscape has changed. Every tree looks like a twig, every hill seems flattened, and in the distance, moving slowly but deliberately toward your settlement, are shadows that stretch across the horizon like moving mountains. The Hebrew Bible calls them Nephilim. Genesis 6:4 describes them clearly. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God went in to the daughters of humans who bore children to them. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of renown. But as you watch these titanic figures approach, one thing becomes crystal clear. These weren't heroes. They were your executioners. According to the Book of Enoch, an ancient text that predates the Bible, these giants weren't just large humans. They were abominations, hybrid creatures born from the union of fallen angels and human women. The text describes them as being 3,000 ells in height, that's over 9,000 feet tall. Now, as one of these creatures draws near your settlement, you realize what those measurements actually mean. You crane your neck upward, but you can't even see where this being ends. Its foot, now visible in the distance, is larger than your entire village. When it takes a single step, the ground shakes so violently that you're thrown to your knees. You try to run, but where? In a world built by and for giants, there is nowhere a creature your size can hide. These giants weren't content to coexist with humanity. According to ancient sources, they were insatiable consumers. The Book of Enoch states that they consumed all the acquisitions of men. When that wasn't enough, they began eating humans themselves. As you crouch behind what used to be your home's wall, now reduced to rubble by the giant's approach, you watch in horror as massive fingers, each thicker than tree trunks, begin plucking people from the ruins. Your neighbors, your friends, your family, lifted effortlessly and examined like insects before disappearing into a mouth so vast you could walk into it standing upright. This is your new reality. You are not just small. You are food.
Let's say you somehow survived that first encounter. Maybe the giant was distracted by easier prey. Maybe you found a crack in the earth deep enough to hide in. Now you face an even more terrifying prospect. How do you live day to day in a world that wasn't built for you? You need food, but the crops that once fed your village are now trampled into the earth by footsteps larger than houses. The few grains that remain are scattered across miles of devastated landscape, and gathering them would mean exposing yourself in the open for hours when another giant might appear on the horizon. You need shelter, but look around. Every structure in this world is built to accommodate beings whose scale you can barely comprehend. The doorways tower above you like cathedral entrances, if you could even reach them. The stairs are carved from single blocks of stone, each step taller than you are. Across the globe, we find massive stone structures that mainstream archaeology struggles to explain. The trilithons at Stonehenge, the foundation stones at Baalbek, some weighing over 800 tons. The precision-cut blocks at Puma Punku in Bolivia, fitted together so perfectly that you can't slide a knife blade between them. Modern engineers admit they couldn't build these structures today, even with our advanced machinery. But now you understand why they exist. They were built by and for beings who could handle 800-ton stones like you handle coffee cups.
You need water, but the wells and fountains of this giant world are so deep and wide that approaching them is like standing at the edge of a cliff. The containers used to draw water are larger than bathtubs and weigh more than cars. Even if you could reach the water, how would you lift a bucket designed for hands the size of your entire body? In Lebanon, the ancient site of Baalbek contains the largest worked stone blocks in the world. The Temple of Jupiter sits on a foundation of stones, each weighing 800 tons. But even more mysterious are the unfinished stones in the nearby quarry. Blocks weighing up to 1,200 tons, cut with precision that defies explanation. As you wander through these giant-built cities, every tool you encounter is impossibly large. Hammers that weigh as much as cars, cups that could serve as swimming pools, weapons that you couldn't even budge, let alone wield. You're not just small in this world, you're utterly helpless.